Okay, so good morning. And let's see, today we just need some blocks and there's going to be pigeons and we're going to have a pigeon kind of early on. So having whatever kind of props you might want for a maybe not quite warmed up hips pigeon. And including you can also sit off to the side in the running deer sort of version of the pigeon. And so we will get started in Sukhasana with the crossed legs. And so this, unlike most of the recordings, I record the gentle Vinyasa class. And this is the regular Vinyasa, but it's still kind of the same sort of a thing for those of you who might be looking at these from online. Anyway, here we are in Sukhasana, the crossed legs. Lengthening up, getting space between the vertebrae, space in the hip sockets, a little shifting and squinging as needed. And finishing with that, letting the hands rest on the knees. Inhale and exhale, pouring down the sides of the neck off the tops of the shoulders, long through the center line. Softening and closing your eyes. Bringing your attention even more inside yourself, feeling your breath, feeling your body as it sits here on the floor this morning. Every breath refining the alignment in your body, refining the focus of your mind and your attention. And we'll reach out wide through the collarbones, through the fingertips. Breathing the arms up, inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. Let's do that twice more. And then we're going to breathe up once more and do the cactus pull. Breathing the arms up, and we'll cactus pull down wide, shoulder blades into the back, pressing the outer edges of the forearms out to the sides. A little press back with the arms, but keeping those ribs drawn in and down. So we're pressing back, not projecting forward. And then breathing the arms up. We'll do 3 cactus pulls from here, a little less lingeringly. Inhale and exhale, pulling down. Inhale to lift, exhale, once more. Inhale and exhale, breathing the arms back up overhead. Big reach out wide and down. Let's change the cross of the legs. Coming forward and over. Breathing across the back of the body. And then coming back up to sitting, unfurling the spine vertebrae by vertebrae. Inhale and exhale, arriving here in this moment with your breath. Arriving with your focus and attention. And let's come up in downward facing dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana. So being patient with those hamstrings. Taking your time getting there. Come back down into child's pose and back up if you want. But you know all those things. But so good to be reminded. Here we are in the best downward facing dog of this moment, nothing moving but the breath. And then coming forward to the plank, really pressing back through the legs, lifting through the core. This can always be kneeling plank or even being on all fours. And we'll go from here right into an upward facing dog. Keeping that plank strength, and here too it could be knees down, maybe you've gone to the Sphinx. And then we'll all touch our knees down. Lift a little more through the upper body. So like I said, if your wrists are giving out, coming down into the Sphinx. And then maybe bending the knees, reaching the upper back for the heels. If you're still lifted, this might seem like a little too much at this early point in class. Bend the knees. And then straightening the legs out. Couple cat-cow ripples, pulling into all fours and rippling a few times. A nice long pull back into child's pose. Inhale and exhale. We'll take about 3 deep breaths here. And then coming back up. Downward facing dog. You want to go smoothly through a vinyasa, any version, go ahead and put that in. And then here we are in downward facing dog. Let's lift our right leg up, reaching long through the heel, reaching down through the left heel. Bending the right knee, dog at the high fire height. And through to the lunge. And then we'll ease that left knee down and take a twist here with the left hand on the floor. Big open twist. And then reaching around with the right arm to pick the left up into Vinyasa, the kneeling. And we'll breathe those arms all the way around and back up overhead. Not quite so far back. And then Namaste in front. And reaching inside the left, right leg will turn to Prasarita Padottanasana, wide apart feet pose. We'll be using blocks under the hands, so this is a little bit easier than the two legs together Tadasana. You can think of this as being a wide leg Ustrasana, like we usually go, Uttanasana. I'm saying the words all wrong, so maybe I better stop saying the words. Anyway, here we are, bending over. More big yawns in the back of the knees. And then coming up to standing, big front body yawn. Pressing the arms down long through the top of the head. Let's circle the shoulders and interlocking the fingers behind. Squeeze the upper arms together, but let the shoulders drop down as we lift up the front of the body to lift the chest, to lift the chin. Take a moment noticing how this shape feels with the wide legs, different than with our legs right underneath us. And then coming forward and over, pressing out through the hands. And releasing our hands. And then we'll turn back to our right lunge to the front of the mat and into the pigeon, bringing the left knee down, walking the right foot across, using whatever blocks. Don't hesitate to use a high block as we start out here. We're sitting off onto the side, bending the left leg. All right, and here we are, taking a few breaths in cobra action. The high pigeon, inhaling up the front, exhale, pouring down the back. And then coming forward and over, sleeping pigeon. Staying a little active in your body, reaching long through the top of the head, reaching back through that left foot. And then there's a lateral sort of a pull. The right knee feels like it's reaching a little toward the right side, the left foot a little toward the left side of the right foot a little toward the left side of the mat. Feeling that wideness across the shin, even if it might not be all that and then coming up. And we're going to retrieve that right leg and slide it behind us, coming into the Sphinx on the forearms on our belly, pulling back with the sides long through the top of the head. Reach a little longer through the toes. And then come down, pulling the elbows up and back, and then set the hands down in the cobra position. Might not be your usual cobra position when we come to it from here. Doesn't matter. And we'll do the 3 small cobras. Long through the collarbones, up and forward. Long through the top of the head, out the feet, coming down. Actually, let's do 3 more, so 4 altogether. And then we will peel ourselves back up. Maybe a couple cats and cows to downward facing dog. And once again, an opportunity to go through the vinyasa. And then here we are, downward facing dog. And we'll lift our left leg up. And bending the knee dog at the high fire height. Through to the lunge. And easing that right knee down, and we'll twist to the left with our right hand on. A big reach around with the left arm, coming up in Vinyasa. And breathing those arms in a big circle around and back up overhead. And Namaste. And then reaching inside that left leg, turn into the wide leg forward bend. Prasarita Padottanasana. Feeling that widening out from the center. And we will come up to standing, big front body yawn. Pressing the arms down, long through the top of the head. Take a circle with the shoulders, interlocking the fingers behind. Lengthening up the front of the body to lift the chest, to lift the chin. And coming forward and over, pressing out through the hands. And releasing the hands. And then we'll turn back to our left lunge, front of the mat, and into the pigeon. Walking the left foot over to the right, pulling the left knee to the left, sitting on whatever you need or using that bent back leg. And then taking a few breaths here in the high pigeon. And coming forward and over. Sleeping pigeon, only don't sleep. Reaching long from the top of the head out the right foot. And then the left knee feels a little pull left. Left foot goes a little bit right. Maybe you can generalize that feeling of a lateral expansion through the whole body a little bit. If that feels interesting or makes any sense. Yep. Let's retrieve that left leg coming into the Sphinx again. Rolling back with the elbows and forearms long through the top of the head. And then coming down. This time we're going to do the wide elbow cobra. So it's kind of like doing the cactus pull there with the elbows a little bit. If you can, standing on the pads of your fingers, the spider hands. If that's too much of a strain, you can press the hands down flat. So the hands are out about as wide as the distance from my shoulder to the elbow out to the side. All right, so let's come up, dropping the chin as we come up. Roll up with the chin down, and then reaching out through the collarbones, reaching out through the elbows. So if you roll yourself up and you can straighten the arms, that's fine. But then as you come back down, really pull those elbows wide to the side, kind of like that cactus action. Let's do that twice more. And then we'll go the other way, reaching forward through the collarbones, coming up. And as best you can, do a little cat back in that upper back, chin drop, diving down. And then scooping forward and up. So even if nothing moves much as you do that dive down, still doing an action in the body, even if it doesn't make a lot move. Our upper back is often not very mobile. And let's do that once more. And then we'll finish in that wide bug cobra. So if you come straight, give the elbows a pull wide. And breathing 3, 2, 1. Coming down. Forehead on the hands. Inhaling and exhaling. And back up to downward facing dog. And once again, you can take a regular vinyasa along the way if you want. And here we are, downward facing dog. And let's lift our right leg up, reaching long through the heel. Bending the knee dog at the high fire hydrant. The root to the lunge. Let's ease our left knee down to the floor again. And just taking that twist with the left hand on the floor. And if you feel like your left thigh and knee can do it, getting hold of the right foot, pulling that heel in. And then letting go of the foot if you have it. We're coming up into either the high lunge or the warrior one. I'm doing the warrior one if you want to just come along with me. Or you could do the kneeling lunge again. Breathe those arms all the way around and back up overhead. Namaste in front. Coming down inside your left leg. Wide leg forward bend. And then adding something here, let's lengthen out on the tippy fingers. We'll take a twist to the left towards your back leg. toward the back of the mat, keeping both legs really straight. So if you really want to, you can put that little bend in that right knee. So we're trying to go up and out, and then maybe a little counter pull down and over. And back to the center. Coming up to standing, big front body yawn. And around to Namaste. Long to the top of the head, Samasthiti, steadiness. Let's come back over. Big lift up. And diving over. Concave back, halfway up. Folding over. So we're going to come up in the standing split on the right, or you can do the pyramid pose. You can turn and keep your left foot on the floor, straightening the right leg, or coming up in the standing split, big lift up through the left leg, reach down through the right, pouring down through the top of the head. And we'll do the Jiva squat here in the splits. If you're doing the pyramid pose or Parsvottanasana, you could come down to a lunge or out to a lunge and up if you wanted. Anyway, here we are. Inhale, expand straight. Exhale, contract and bend 3 times. Inhale and exhale 4 times altogether. And 2. And 2. And 3. And 3. One more. Expand straight. And then a big step back into the lunge, and we'll come into the pigeon. Walking the right foot across into the pigeon. And taking a few breaths here in the cobra action. Inhaling up the front, exhale, pouring down the back. Forward and over. Sleeping pigeon, but not sleeping. Especially on this version. So you don't need to add the little thing we're going to do. You can just hold here. All right. So we're going to do that giant bug cobra here. Bring the arms out wide, hands about across from the shoulders. All right, let's do the drop the chin. Rolling up, reaching out wide and over. Twice more. Oh, let's do once more of that, twice more. So we have 4 altogether. I think at this point in the class, I'd know that I wasn't thinking 3 times was enough. All right, and there's the 4th time. And then we'll go the other direction. Reaching forward and not doing your best to contract. That's a little awkward, and dive down. And 2. And 3. And once more. And 4. And a little lengthen out. Coming into that sleeping pigeon for a couple breaths. Maybe a little more sleepiness, a little more easeful. Up. And we'll reach the back, right leg back, coming into the Sphinx. Pulling back with elbow, tailbone into the floor, reaching back through the top. And then we're going to squinch ourselves back to simplified Virasana. So squinching. So when you pull those elbows back, feel like you're trying to drag the knees forward and tuck the tailbone and lifting up. And we'll hold here a couple of breaths. Once again, we're sort of trying to do a cat back in a position that our spine and hips don't really want to do a cat back. So maybe it isn't literally, but that's the intention. Try to scoop the tailbone and pull the knees forward. And then hinging back, walking back with the hands, coming into simplified Virasana, sitting on your heels. And exhale. And then let's ascend onto our knees. Lots of back bending action today. And into Ustrasana, the camel pose. Hands on the sacrum, or maybe the heels, or maybe a combination of both. And up. Reaching up, descending. Deep breath. Coming up in downward facing dog. And through a vinyasa or not. And then around, we'll go on the left. All right, here we are, downward facing dog. Let's lift our left leg up. Bending the knee dog at the high fire hydrant. Through to the lunge. And we'll ease that right knee down, twisting to the left again. And then maybe if it works out for your body this morning, bending the right leg, pulling the heel toward the sitting bone. And then we'll let that right foot go, coming up in either the high lunge or with knee in the warrior number one. And settling into our breath again. Breathing the arms all the way around in a big circle and back up overhead. Namaste. And then reaching inside, turning to the wide leg forward, then Prasarita Padottanasana. Means the wide apart feet pose. And then we will lengthen out and taking a twist to the right toward the back of the mat. Reach up, long reach out through the top of the head. And then as much opposing drawing down as you have available. Well, you can do a lot of pulling down and not necessarily move because you don't want to let that reaching up and out collapse. And coming back to the center. Arming up to standing, big front body yawn. And around to Namaste, Samastiti, steadiness. Then coming over, big lift up, diving over. Concave back, inhale, and exhale. Then turn into the left lunge, and either your pyramid pose or whatever you did, or the standing split, something where we're straightening our left leg and stretching out the hamstring. And then Jiva squat 4 times, inhale and exhale, squeezing in. Inhale, expanding out. And 2, and 2, on your own timing, of course. And 1 more. And a big step back to the low lunge, to the pigeon. And then we'll take a few breaths here in this cobra action, high pigeon. Forward and not quite sleepy. And then bringing those hands out wide in the giant bud position. And we'll roll up, dropping the chin. Rolling up in the core, upper chest lifts, reaching out with the collarbones, reaching out with the elbows. 4 more like that. So even if you don't feel much roll up, that's the trickier part, I think. Still thinking roll up, doing your best to have an intention to roll up, even if it doesn't feel like it's happening yet. And I think this is the 4th one. Let's see. Did we do 1 more? I'm pretty sure it was the 4th, but maybe 1 more. And then we'll go the other direction. Reaching forward and up. Track and drop the chin, rounding over. And 2. And 3. And then once more. And then taking a few breaths in, more of a sleeping pigeon. Slide that left leg back into the Sphinx. Ah. And then we'll squinch back to simplified Virasana again. Pulling the elbows and knees, trying to round the back, trying to tuck that tailbone forward, trying to pull the belly button up, holding here, and 4, 3, 2, and 1. And then hinging yourself back into simplified Virasana. Inhale and exhale, letting everything settle. Moving things out. And this time we'll head for Supta Virasana. So that's the lean back. One option is just to lean back. You feel a little tuck forward with that tailbone, pulling up through the abdominal muscles, reaching down through the knees, doing that on the forearms. Maybe you're going to separate your feet, put a block there between the feet the long way. So your sitting bones are on the block and coming back from there. You could also possibly be sitting between the heels in the full Virasana. And if you need to be passive, I'm just being passive here, you can. Otherwise, maybe putting a little intention. You're trying to tuck the tailbone forward and up, reaching down through the knees, pulling those hip bones up towards your head, and easing yourself over any amount. In the yoga pose, we're trying to keep our thighs right together, though if they really want to slide the knees to the side, that's all right. That's one of those things that's not necessarily bad for you. It's just not the yoga pose. The thing we don't want is the shins winging out. We want to keep those right alongside the thighs, almost underneath the thighs. Breathing. And for some of us, breathing here in this position might not be the easiest thing. Couple more breaths. And the difficulty is the further you came over, the more you have to go back up. Anyway, all right, let's get ourselves back up to Virasana or simplified Virasana. Inhale and exhale. And let's expand up into downward facing dog. So let's see, we're probably going to end up maybe 5 minutes over today. I think we started 5 minutes late. All right. Big yawn in the back of the knees, but we don't need to worry about that 5 minutes yet because we're still here. It's not yet 11 o'clock, and we have a big stretch out of those grateful knees. Maybe through a Vinyasa. And then there we all are, downward facing dog. Let's lift our right leg up. Bending the knee dog at the high fire hydrants. And through to the lunge. And let's go to the elephant rider. At long last, an actual lateral direction pressing those inner thighs out, pressing the knees out, feeling like those shins are pressing out away. Heels do a little pull into the center, maybe a little bouncing or squinching. And then let's come up in the three-pointed star, rotating those thigh bones into the hip joints. Lift a little higher, reach down through the floor a little more. And pressing the arms parallel, turning the feet to parallel. And we'll rotate the right leg out 90 degrees. Let's come into the warrior two. Inner thigh to inner knee to center of the foot. And anchoring lunge, dancing warrior. And into the triangle Trikonasana. Feeling that twisting to the left, lifting you up. Couple more breaths here. And then coming down to the lunge and into the pigeon. All right, in this pigeon, our option's going to be the mermaid variation, bending that left leg. So just do what you can. It's usually easier to bend the left leg once we come forward. So if you want to come forward sooner, go ahead. All right, anyway, here we are. High pigeon. And then maybe bending that left leg. Reaching back through the left knee toward the back of the mat, reaching the left toes up to the ceiling. Maybe this is good enough, just having gotten your left leg bent. Or reaching around with the right arm, getting pulled with the ankle. Maybe you can even get that ankle into the crook of your elbow. And then doing your best to turn toward the front of the mat. And just both a wide and out, right knee forward, left knee back, and a lifting up, drawing in through the center and out the top of the head. Come to sleeping pigeon at any point, maybe you're already there. And then we'll all come forward if you're enjoying that bent left leg, taking that left foot with you. And go with the left foot. And then this time we'll come up and come right back to downward facing dog, or maybe into child's pose. And you can hold the downward facing dog if you're there, Or you could do up through the Vinyasa. And then we need to make our way around on the left. Here we are, downward facing dog. Lifting the left leg. Bending the knee, dog at the high fire hydrants. Through to the lunge. Turning to the elephant ride. Lightening out. Going in and up at the same time. And then straightening up in the three-pointed star. Reaching up and then reach down through the two legs. So we have our 3 points radiating out from the center. And then reaching the arms wide, turn the feet to parallel. And we will rotate the left leg out 90 degrees. And into the warrior two. Inner thigh to inner knee, center of the foot. And then here we are, settling into our that dancing warrior, bringing that left arm up and away. Into the triangle trikonasana, tilting over, twisting up to the right. And big reach around with that right arm. Here we are in the pigeon. Taking a few breaths into simple high pigeon. And bending the right leg. Pouring back through the front of the right thigh out the knee toward the back of the mat. Sorry. Right toes lift up toward the ceiling. Maybe this is enough. In some ways, this is harder without getting hold of that right foot. Anyway, next, bring that right arm around, getting hold of the ankle, and maybe you can pull it into the crook of the elbow. Yet another thing that long arms do help a lot with it. And then doing your best to square up to the front in the mermaid variation. Lengthening, widening out, and a little feeling of drawing in and up and out the top of it. And if you want, bringing that right foot with you, as you come forward and over. Letting go of the right foot. A little more sleepy pigeon. And and we will make our way down to the floor. So we'll do a couple little stretches before going to Shavasana. If you're ready to just go to Shavasana, go ahead. So let's come down, slide those legs out. Let yourself arrive here on the floor. And I'm reaching the arms out wide to the side, pressing the shoulder blades down into the back. And we'll bend the right knee. I'm taking the left hand on the outer right knee, pulling the right knee across to the left. The universal twist, I heard this called. Not quite sure why it's the universal twist, but that just sounded like a nice name. Here we are. Somehow fits. Back to the center, sliding the right leg out, bending the left leg, taking that left leg across to the right. Universal twist. And back to the center, sliding that left leg out. Yet another option to just call it good, and here we are, Shavasana, or maybe a Supta Baddha Konasana. Soles of the feet together, knees out to the side. And you can resolve to stay in this Supta Baddha Konasana for the duration here, using this as your Shavasana position. Or whenever you're ready, sliding the legs out to straight. And nice long, deep breaths. Things Sometimes that might mean letting go of something or moving a little more slowly through part of the breath. Sometimes it might mean actually drawing something back in, bringing your attention somewhere. And we'll take a couple more breaths here, maybe sliding the legs to straight if they're not yet. And stretching those arms a little bit. Bend your knees. And gently making your way up to sitting. And sitting in any comfortable position with a long and spacious spine. Taking a few more moments, sitting quietly inside yourself. Namaste. Thank you for coming.